is something called slam. And it may seem self-explanatory when I tell you in a moment, but what we aim to do is address the five senses. Some people might say there's six senses, but you really want to address those by using something I call SLAM. So SLAM is an acronym for sound, lights, air, and music. Let me just go through those, break it down. Sound. So sound might be the sound of the air conditioner. Sound might be the sound of the plates. Sound might be the clanking of glasses when the audience and crew gives their toast. Sound might be a person giving a toast or making an announcement. On the other hand, sound could be something that's introduced into the event other than music, such as birds, or you might want to have the sound of birds in the garden. In fact, we do have piped in birds in the garden just to give it that extra flavor, a little bit of theater. Don't tell anyone we do that. So then there's lighting. So lighting is important. You have backlighting, you have fill lighting, you have different temperatures of lighting: warm light, cool light, bright light, dim light, romantic lighting, tungsten lighting. And all of these different components of lighting really lend themselves to highlight the architecture, highlight the flowers. Maybe you want to pin spot the flowers. Uplighting, downlighting, all of those things can come into play when you're designing the vibe dimension. It's part of the decor. So you want to light the stage, you want to light the podium, you want to light a certain moment. And also the absence of light can be introduced to create a sense of drama or elegance. Maybe it's candlelight you're after. So lighting is another ingredient. Also in SLAM, the A in SLAM is air. So you might think of air as not only temperature, air conditioning or heating, which, by the way, I do not recommend heating unless it's an outdoor heating element during the wintertime. But air might be the smell of the air, the scent, the temperature of the air. It might be indoor air versus outdoor air. So air is an important component. Certainly we all need to breathe air, we need oxygen, but you want to keep the air in mind, and it should be a design element when you're creating the vibe dimension. So that is the A of SLAM in the acronym. And then the M simply is music. So I am a former musician. Some might say I'm still a musician, play saxophone in my living room, but music is an important and a key component or ingredient when you're designing the vibe dimension for your event. It could be the DJ, it could be smooth jazz piped in the overhead speakers. It could be simply a car stereo in the background, something you intend to do, something that's designed or intentional. But music should be well thought out. Maybe it's a playlist, maybe it's just a vibe, maybe it's just a theme that you're wanting the audience to experience as they go through the event. Maybe it's live music. But you want to keep in mind that music is going to come into play one way or another in your event. Doesn't matter what kind of event that you're doing, you want to have music as one of the ingredients when you're designing your event. And all of these ingredients come together to the vibe dimension to help you cultivate an epic event that no one will ever forget. It's going to help to cement the event into the hearts and minds of everyone there so that the event can go down in history. The next thing I want to talk about when we're creating an epic event that no one will ever forget, you have to keep in mind that the event is going to need food and beverage. So food and beverage is FAB, F-A-B, and that's the FAB element that goes into my framework for creating and producing an epic event that no one will ever forget. And I think it goes without much explanation. You're going to have some kind of food and beverage, whether it is punch and cookies, or maybe it's just a glass of champagne, or maybe it is some kind of a snack or grab and go breakfast. There's almost always food and beverage. If it's a festival, if it's the Olympics, if it's a church gathering, almost every event that you could think of is going to have this fab element. And so that's something we can go over when you become a client. But that is another ingredient that goes into and towards the vibe dimension that we create in the framework for cementing into the hearts and minds, because we're going for an epic event that no one will ever forget. We want it to go down in history.